2019, welcome.
We're starting 2019 off right with a thought erasure.
Yep. Don't even think about it.
We've got the old 4-color V Grixis matchup.
Listen, if you're just not going to have a ton of colors, why even play the game? There's 5 colors of Magic. I don't want to leave any of them out.
If you can't play at least 6 of them, then give up now.
Yep. Is that Ionize that he's taken?
Sure looks like it.
No Ions for Jon Tople.
Kind of telegraphing that we don't care about this insatiable thirst or moment of craving. That one. That's the card. -2/-2.
Yeah, I don't think Luke has many guys that are going to fall in that range for him.
I don't know that it even has targets, but it does look like we're going to have an opt here from Jon Tople.
Okay, here we go.
Opting to draw.
Keep that one. Untaps, draws for the turn. Here's a Chemist's Insight.
I know you're a big fan of that one.
Love the insight.
Love the insight.
Drafted one on Arena last night.
Oh, yeah?
Got some work out of it.
All the work.
I'll be honest, the Veraska did more work than the Chemist's Insight. So
likely, but
likely, he says. All right, here's another draw, another land. More passing. Here's the Champagne campaign. It's a disinformation campaign. This will be if you were to organize a whole host of events, ads, Facebook messages, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Purporting things that weren't the truth.
Oh, wow. So we're going to Chemist's Insight in response, draw a couple cards, looks like pitch a land.
All right, the 4th land from Luke. Oh man, here's
another Chemist's
an
Insight.
additional insight. He has so much insight into what's going on over there. Here's the Chromium. Nope. All right, we lied.
We don't have a mana to cast that. He was just asking because he knew it was in his hand for the text on it.
Luke gets his 5th land down. These land drops are important in these control-on-control matchups.
Yes, they are.
Chooses to turn Moment of Craving into a Chemist's Insight with the Jumpstart ability.
Solid choice here. How do you feel about this exile placement?
I'm not opposed to it. I'm a bigger fan of Graveyard behind deck, Exile above deck.
Okay.
I
don't know that behind and above adequately describe
okay,
locations,
so I put my deck on the table, right?
Yeah.
I put it on my left-hand side. Closer to me, in the same row, or the same column, I guess, is my graveyard.
Okay.
And then further away from me than my deck is, north of it, is my exile.
Wouldn't call it north.
If it were a map, if I was at a map on a table.
And true north was your opponent.
Right. Immediately north of my deck would be.
Yeah, but you can't say
exile.
it's north of it because north exists even in the microcosm of a playmat.
What are you talking about? Why can't things just be easy? Everybody knows what I mean when I say it's
Nobody
north of my
knows what you mean.
Nobody
Depends
knows
on where you're at.
My sorrows.
If you were at exactly the North Pole, both your graveyard and exile could be north of your deck. They would both be south of your deck, yeah.
If my deck was at the North Pole, you're right.
Yeah. So it's very ambiguous.
I'm saying if the playmat were a map.
Okay. A map of the world.
Of literally anything.
A map of literally anything, okay.
Most maps are oriented so that the top of the map is north.
Okay. But most maps also fail to account for the curvature of the Earth.
Yes.
And so...
Yes, most maps are not the Mercator projection. Here's a Chromium. So this is the mutable. He has flash. He can't be countered. He flies. And you can discard a card to make him a 1/1 hexproof. So that's what John's probably going to do here. Activates that ability. Vraska's Contempt is then countered. Alright, untap. The corner has been turned.
Chromium can do that.
Yeah, I think these Elder Dragons probably going to see a little bit of play here in the coming...
I don't know if I would have played that land.
Months. Oh, yeah, you want to just be able to activate that guy as much as possible, huh?
Yeah, I mean, so you could play around Eldest Reborn, I guess.
So I think the land represents an additional card in hand anyway because of Expansion Explosion.
Okay. So we're not going to be able to protect it from this.
The Eldest Reborn is going to make him sacrifice a creature.
Looks like he's got a Spell Pierce in hand. That might be a solid play here. So we're at the point where Luke's got a ton of mana anyway, and Spell Pierce isn't going to do a lot of work. So just firing off the Spell Pierce.
All right, here comes a 4-mana Heater.
All right, looks like we're digging for a different answer here. Oh, I think he drew an Ionize. That should help.
Here we go. Here's Ionize, and he's got the Spell Pierce backup. Oh, he's got it. So Spell Pierce resolves. Ionize resolves on the Eldest Reborn. Luke takes 2. All right, and shows him Expansion Explosion.
There we go. So
for at least 4.
Jon Tople successfully digging to the Ionize.
Yeah. So lots of 3-mana counter spells in this format. Ionize, Sinister Sabotage. We're getting Absorb. Lots of choices you could be making.
Yes, although there's not a lot of choices there in actuality.
Okay.
So the only time you would play Ionize really is if it was easier to cast in your deck than Sinister Sabotage.
Right, which it definitely is for Jon.
Right, it definitely is for Jon, so I agree with it here. I don't yet know, especially given what we know about what blue-white does in the new set, if there's a place for Absorb yet, but I guess time will tell on that.
Yeah, and I don't think the blue-white mechanic is... So you certainly could postulate a constructed playable Magic card with that mechanic?
Yeah. There's a... So, okay, go on. I'm sorry.
But I don't think we've seen any yet.
Okay. I disagree.
Okay, you think the draw 2 is a worthwhile card? Draw 2, gain 2 life?
Yeah, I think that card's better than Chemist's Insight personally, but...
Wow, you're just trying to dig at me now.
Just digging right at you.
You're just digging.
I'm referring more to the fact that this keyword is like an ability that's been printed before, but is just now being keyworded.
Okay.
So, like, Careful Consideration was a very potent, constructed, playable Magic card.
Yeah.
So, I mean, designing... I know you meant in Standard, so it's kind of like...
Right.
Yeah.
If Careful Consideration were in Standard, blue would be the best color by a mile.
Best color by a mile.
You get Chemist's Insight and that card? It's unreasonable.
Yeah, I don't think Chemist's Insight is as good as you think it is.
I do.
Well, obviously, by definition. But speaking of insight, have you given thought to foresight?
Foresight.
Yeah, we've got a nice new Sphinx that does a little bit of foresight.
Oh, yeah? Let's look here. I was just admiring the artwork on Godless Shrine. Sphinx of Foresight. You may reveal this card from your opening hand. If you do, scry 3 at the beginning of your first upkeep. Holy smokes. This card is good.
Yeah.
Scry 3 at the beginning of your first upkeep. Jeez. So, is this going to be one of those things where, like, bad players are going to keep, like, hands of, like, 1 land Sphinx and then just get the scry 3 and be like, oh, found a land?
So I don't think that makes you a bad player. Hands with 1 land and Sphinx when you need, like, 1 or 2 more is totally reasonable. Like, scrying 3 to dig for 2 lands is very good.
Okay.
So, like, odds are you're going to hit 1 land, and you can put the other 2 cards on the bottom to, like, drastically increase your chance of getting the 3rd. But, yeah, it's very interesting, and I think it's very skill testing.
Yeah, that card's great. I think it could be amazing. Can you imagine this card in, like, a mono blue aggro deck? Like the
Yeah, I can.
Like the Curious Obsession decks right now?
Yes. So Sphinx is very good. I'm excited about that. And then the body on that thing.
It's 4/4
Just
for 4.
a 4/4 flying for 4, right?
Yeah.
And when or at the beginning of your upkeep, you get a scry 1.
Yeah.
There's no downside to this card. It's so good.
It's so good.
It dies to whatever the card is.
Lava Coil.
Lava Coil.
But yeah, so Lava Coil takes it down.
Can you imagine, like, having multiple of those in your opening hand?
Sphinxes, do I get to scry 3 for each one?
Yeah.
All right, I'm in.
Each one triggers independently during your first upkeep. So just scry 3. No big deal. You typically don't, like, having 2 4-drops in your opening hand is not where you want to be, but, I mean, you're pretty much guaranteed to stack the top of your deck at that point.
Right. No, I want this in, like, a mono blue, like, curve out deck. It's so good.
I hope it doesn't go the way of Serum Powder, where, like, the effect is, like, really good, but, like, not quite good enough to get over the hump.
Right.
But on the other hand, this card by itself is much stronger than Serum Powder by itself, like, when it's in play.
Concur. Tople keeps.
I'm pretty sure we've heard them ask each other if they're playing this weekend like 6 times so far today. All right, are we keeping? No, Luke's throwing it back again. Yowza. So here's the deal with these control matchups. You could very reasonably keep somewhat loose hands because you're going to draw into more, like, you're going to get a lot of chances to draw into more action.
Sure.
Obviously, it's not ideal, but Luke said his 7 card hand was a 5-lander, and depending on what those other, like, if those other 2 cards are relevant in this matchup, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah, 5-lander plus a little bit of action would be one that I hold on to here.
Yeah, even if that action is just like a disinformation campaign or a thought erasure, like, it's all good.
The hard part of this is that Luke knows he's going to have to deal with Chromium, which I'm assuming he only has the Eldest Reborn to handle it. And I guess Niv Mizzet kind of races it a little bit.
Yeah, Niv Mizzet pretty cleanly beats it. But, like, your way of dealing with it if you're Luke is just to make him discard it.
Yeah.
Did Jon keep a one-lander?
He's got Opt. You just take Opt here.
You just take Opt, and he's... Oh, come on, Jon.
Come on, Johnny.
Jon. Like, if you could Opt on turn 1, then sure, but... Come on. Why is Moment of Craving still in the deck? What's going on?
All right, so the Opt down.
Yep. That's it for Luke.
Looks like Jon just going to scoop him up here with no further action.
Yeah. So here's the deal, guys. Turn 1, or keeping a one-lander with an Opt, not really viable.
Yeah, that's not a thing you do. Would you keep a one-lander with this Sphinx?
So I might keep a one-lander with Opt if I was playing the mono blue.
Yeah, sure.
Because I have things that cost 1 and 2. But like if you're playing control, you want to hit all your land drops, and Opt isn't going to help you hit lands 3 through 4.
Correct.
Would I keep a one-lander with the Sphinx? It totally depends on what else is in the hand. And
Yeah, the deck, etc.
the deck. That's why I'm saying it's a very skill-testing card.
Yes,
I think it's great.
concur.
But, yeah, it'll be interesting to play with that card. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I definitely look forward to having that card in my. I had this I had this blue deck and I hadn't played it yet, so
Yeah.
and it's really kind of over the hill now. It's past. But a rebirth of it would really make me happy. I'd love to be able to get those cards out and
The mono blue deck?
yeah.
Okay.
I could probably take it out on a voyage, but
You could
nothing
absolutely
crazy.
play it. It's still good.
Yeah, it's very hard to deal with. Definitely has some tough questions.
It's actually a very skill-intensive deck. All right. Odds are we're not taking the Opt this time.
Yeah.
I would say we probably take maybe the Eldest Reborn, maybe the Chemist's Insight. It doesn't really matter. Like, none of these cards are very good against Luke.
Yeah. I might take the Chemist's Insight. I feel like that's the card that's going to put him the furthest amount ahead.
I don't think any of them are going to put him ahead at all. Maybe take the Opt because it means he can't cast anything for the next 2 turns.
Sure.
That's where I'm at. I just want the Opt. All right. We're taking the Eldest Reborn, which is fine. I'm not like miles ahead on the Opt or anything. But if you take the Opt here, you know what his hand is. Now he's going to have an extra unknown card in his hand. You could have potentially just shut him off for like several turns there.
Yeah, you could.
All right, so now we're going to duress.
All right, so Duress came off the top.
I think we're going to get a disinformation campaign here. This is another reason I would have taken the Opt.
Sure.
So if you take the Opt, you know he doesn't have any answers for this disinformation campaign, and you can really grind out the value there.
Yeah.
Like Chemist's Insight provides a little bit of card advantage, but not a significant amount to like dig yourself out of the lock there.
Yeah. I have a hard time in situations like these telling them, determining what should go on. So, like, obviously I have to, like, wait for this Chemistry's Insight to get online. But my opponent's got the Dream Eater. So, like, I don't know if I should be, what I should be doing here.
So you know his hand is Dream Eater and I think it was a Thought Erasure.
Yep.
So you don't have to worry about anything until that Dream Eater is about to come online. And then you have to kind of watch out for what permanents you have on the board. But in Jon's case, he's really just kind of playing off the top of his deck. I mean, Luke is 2 at this point until this Dream Eater can come down.
Yep.
All right, so it looks like we're going to have a Teferi here. And
Probably
I really
tucking.
like Teferi minus.
Yeah, Teferi putting the...
So this buys Teferi some time. You don't really need to ult with this Teferi.
Yeah.
But just drawing the cards over the next couple turns, which you're going to be able to do, as you
Right.
know what cards are in Luke's hand, is going to be important.
Yeah, that's going to be the critical part.
So we get the Chemistry's Insight, which really wasn't going to be great anyway.
Yeah, you're going to get the front side of that.
I might just play up here and untap and then tap 4 lands and then pitch this land to the Chemistry's Insight. So he doesn't know any of the cards in my hand.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then draw with Teferi and then play the land.
Yeah, so he definitely needs to play an additional land here. Alright, so he's trying to figure out Dream Eater. Dream Eater.
This is a good one. I think Luke's going to want to cast it on his main phase, but we'll see how this goes. Bouncing that Teferi is not great.
No, it's not the kind of card you want to bounce. Here's the Steam Vents.
Yeah, we're doing the exact opposite of everything that should be happening, but that's okay.
Well, you think should be happening.
So I don't know what in particular he's digging for. Main phase opts with an untapped Steam Vents when like you have other lands that can cast that opt, and you're going to get 2 untapped with Teferi anyway. Plus we're playing the land that he doesn't know about. Means that we just paid 2 life for nothing.
Yeah.
Gave him a ton of information. He still knows about that 1 card in your hand. So, I mean, obviously there's like minimal amount of value to do one over the other.
Yeah.
But it's those small advantages.
Okay, so he's going to expansion his jump-started Chemistry's Insight.
Man, if we had a Sinister Sabotage here, yikes.
Yeah, so when he goes to expansion that spell and you cast Counterspell on the targeted spell.
Yeah,
Not
you get
on
them both.
expansion, you get them both. Because an expansion doesn't have a target when it goes to resolve. Plays a land, plus his Teferi. Looks like we have a fresh negate in hand, another Chemistry's Insight. He's drawn all the cards. Ionize.
Vraska's Contempt, I think, is the relevant one here. We have enough mana to Vraska's Contempt and back it up.
Alright, so we're going to use the old Teferi trigger trick to cast Chemistry's Insight. Here's Dream Eater. Catches the Ionize. Draw. A draw. Alright, see two land off the Chemistry's Insight. It's going to rebuy the Chemistry's Insight for him. And here's the third Thief of Sanity.
Yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of casting that Chemistry's Insight in the turn, but it's fine. It is what it is at this point. I think he's pretty far ahead. We need to deal with this Thief, but we've got the Vraska's Contempt and the Negate backup, which should take care of it pretty easily. It's a fight with fire.
Fight with fire.
So you've got a win condition. Kind of.
Yeah. Should find another one. All right,
aggressive.
So fights the Thief with fire. All right.
All right.
Tell you what, these control players, man, they love the games to go long.
Yeah, so using the Vraska's Contempt there instead of the Fight with Fire is basically saying you don't want to deal him 10 damage to the face, or that
Sure.
10 damage to the face is irrelevant. So, I mean, you're very clearly going to get to that point in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Still going to opt in a turn.
That's his option. All right.
All right, let's see what we're going to do here. I would imagine plus Teferi. We got a Rouse Eric.
Got lots of planeswalkers on Jon's side.
Oh, draws the Niv Mizzet too. That's going to be the one.
Yeah, this guy's been known to end the game pretty quickly.
Might have played the Ral first. So, like, having Ral with Negate backup's important.
Yeah.
And then... So, being able to, like, activate Teferi and Ral, like, immediately after this.
Yeah.
Okay, Luke's going to
So
scoop
Luke's
it up.
going to ask him if he has Negate and then scoop it up.
Yeah.
How about Dovin?
Oh, God, you let me down.
Dovin being exalted to the title of Grand Arbiter.
Yeah.
That's good for him.
Good for Dovin. Do you know what goes great with Dovin, Grand Arbiter?
Augustus, Grand Arbiter.
Karn.
Dovin makes the token.
And then you play Karn
And then you play Karn,
and make a construct.
make a construct.
And you got a regular artifact army.
Yeah. There's all kinds of men there. So, how do you like this? He's a 3-mana planeswalker, which historically has been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even one that the Nissa Vital, or it wasn't Vital Force. What was Nissa's 3-mana? planeswalker called? I forget.
She's had multiple 3-mana incarnations.
So there's Nissa, the flip one, that costs 3.
Yeah, there's the X one, which the cheapest it could cost was 3.
Right.
And then the one you're thinking of is the one from Zendikar.
Right. Yeah, Nissa, Voice of Zendikar. Was that it?
I don't think so, but whatever. I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, she was pretty powerful.
Pretty powerful.
And this one, I think it's going to be pretty powerful. So I'm going to put it in this blue deck that I've been talking about. The same one the Sphinx is going to go in.
Oh, jeez.
So until end of turn,
Aggressive.
whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a loyalty counter on Dovin. So if I went creature, Dovin, plus Dovin, attacked, I've got 2 more counters on Dovin. He's at 6. Before you know it.
Before you know it. What's that ult? You win in the game that turn?
Look at the top 10 cards of your library. Put 3 of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order.
Okay. So plussing Dovin's probably not extremely relevant.
No?
No. That's helpful. No, it's really not.
So much.
But so it's a good ability.
Dovin to 1 and then plus like 6 and then put him back down to 1.
Get him to like 4 and then put him back down to 1. But yeah. I like the interaction between Dovin Bond and Karn and then Tezzeret. You get a lot of artifacts out on the board, a lot of benefit to having artifacts on the board.
I see.
But before I give you my opinion on these Planeswalkers, let's talk about the other one.
The other Planeswalker is a white-black Planeswalker. Kaya.
Kaya. Tell me about Kaya.
It's a 3-mana one, so 1, a white, and a black.
Mm-hmm.
It comes in with 3. The plus is to exile up to 2 target cards from a single graveyard. Gain 2 life if at least 1 creature was exiled this way.
Mm-hmm.
The minus is exile a non-land permanent with converted mana cost 1 or less.
Mm-hmm.
So that's marginal. And then the -5 is deals damage to target player equal to the number of cards that player owns in exile, and you gain that much life.
So what are your thoughts on this one?
This one is not as powerful.
Not as powerful.
Not as powerful. So, the exile on non-land permanent with converted mana cost 1 or less is actually probably useless.
Completely useless.
I mean, it's not completely...
There's nothing...
Obviously not.
Nothing with converted mana cost 1 or less.
I mean, obviously not completely useless.
Sure. But you can imagine a corner case where that would be okay.
Yeah. I'm imagining you're thinking of a case that's bigger than a corner.
No.
Oh,
no,
okay.
No. I mean, it removes tokens, super aggressive creatures. So, yeah, I mean, it's a corner case. But go on.
The ultimate is pretty good, but like I feel like it's a lot of work to get there. I feel like I mean you obviously got a plusser and that's part of the work.
Yeah, I mean that's usually what you do with Planeswalkers. You plus them to get to the alt. What does that plus do? How do you feel about that plus?
Cards, and you gain life.
Okay, so it exiles cards and you could potentially gain life.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to leave it at that. We're going to take a quick break and scout the other rounds. We'll get back with my opinion here in the next round. I need to see what these guys are playing, so we'll be right back.